Welcome back to another episode. My name is Zoe, and I'm the host of the Self-Worth Club podcast, where I help you rise above self-doubt, create super strong belief in yourself and your worth, so that you can build a life you feel truly fulfilled by each and every single day. Today, we're taking a moment to chat about something very important, and that is intentionality and rest. These are two crucial aspects of your growth journey. We're going to get real about how crucial it is to slow down and be intentional in a world that is always go, 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 always on the move. So join me right now for a heartfelt conversation and really practical advice on how to carve out moments of rest for yourself and really embrace that intentionality and foster personal growth within yourself. This is a truly life-changing topic, and I'm really excited to bring it to you today. It's going to be a quickie, so it's, really easy to keep ourselves busy in this fast-paced world, right? Especially when it seems like everyone around you is constantly moving at warp speed and achieving these massive things and checking off 20 items from their to-do list every single day. And you feel behind the curve, at least most days, right? And that's something that social media really portrays for us as like this unrealistic standard of just how fast you have to move, again in air quotes, because you don't have to move that fast, and life could be so much better if you slow down and you could still get what you want. Many of us are constantly overwhelmed and on the verge of burnout. And this is where being intentional comes in. Before I explain the nitty-gritty, let me say these things. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Okay? You are not behind the curve. And sometimes you just need to zoom out and look at how far you've come. You're just too zoomed in right now. You're too close to this to really look back and see the big picture, and that is so necessary. In order to get to where you want to be, you have to learn to enjoy the now. And seriously, I know this is something you've probably heard a million times, that it's just, the saying is said so much, but there's a reason for that. If you aren't making room to enjoy where you are right now in this moment, then you don't create space for what you want to come in the future. By not accepting what is right now, you're creating resistance in your life and for what you truly want in the future. But once you find that peace, that inner stillness and gratitude for the now, what your life currently is and everything that you have, then you can start to create what you want for your future. The first step in enjoying the now is being intentional. Focus on enjoying each experience that you have, even the littlest of things. Like, I want you to be present while you're making your breakfast, while you're walking the dog, while you're eating dinner with your family. Like, no phones, find that intentional time. And I think this is so important even in moments when you're doing something else, right? Like, but just be present in what you're doing. So say me and my husband sit down to watch a movie. Yes, we're doing something else. We're watching a movie, but we're doing it together. We're intentionally spending time together. And I'm sure you can imagine how different it feels if you're, say, like cuddled up together on the couch under a blanket. You're watching the same movie, you're laughing at the same parts, you're connecting on what they're saying, you maybe have some dialogue back and forth about it, you're surprised by the same moments, right? Versus you're sitting on the couch together, you're a little bit apart, you're not sharing the same space, you're not touching, one person's like constantly looking at their phone, and then the other, they missed that moment where that made you laugh so much. Like, how different does that interaction feel? right? This is why it's so important to be intentional in everything that you do, because even the littlest of things can create special memories and just make you enjoy your life that much more, right? Being intentional means you take your time, you give that thing your full attention, you're in the moment, in the next, and the next, and the next. You stop rushing through to get to the next thing, and you let yourself be there and be still. There are so many distractions in the world right now, and they are sucking the joy out of life. We are always somewhere else, thinking about what's to come, what's next on the to-do list, planning for tomorrow, next week, next month. But that's where you've grown most comfortable, in the distractions of the next thing, of the next day. And our brains love to keep us comfortable, right? It's literally the main concern, is keep you safe, which means keep you comfortable. So when something comes up that feels stressful, out of the ordinary, you naturally want to retreat. You want to numb. You want to be somewhere else. Take the attention away from that thing that's making you uncomfortable. This leads us to doing things like turning on the TV, pouring another glass of wine, sparking the blunt, anything to not have to be totally there and present in that stress. But when you allow yourself to open up and be your most intentional self, life gets so much brighter. You have full of life experiences. And isn't that why we're here? To live, right? That is the point. Not to be looking for the next distraction or checking off the next thing on your to-do list. Here is some advice to help you create stillness and intention in your life so you can enjoy more of it. 1, honor all parts of you, including the highly sensitive ones. Your independence-loving ego craves to take control and cover up the vulnerable parts of you that feel scary and overwhelming. And I have been there. I used to act so tough when I was younger. It was literally part of my personality that I never cried, never needed help, wanted to figure everything out on my own. I would actually preface to people, like in certain situations when it was expected that one would get emotional, that they shouldn't be surprised when they don't see me give that emotion. I would just say, like, it's just not me. I just don't do that. But that was a lie, right? That was a huge lie to myself. I was like burying these feelings and I wasn't feeling fully, and I wasn't, letting that vulnerable side of me show, and it muted, I don't know if that's the right word, but it dulled life. Really, in the end, when you think about it, and when the contrast now in my life is so crazy different, I feel everything, like, I never apologize for it. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I don't feel the need to explain to people how I am or why I act, certain ways. I never apologize for crying or anything like that. And I have never felt more whole or powerful in my whole life. The ability to be outwardly vulnerable and emotional is a gift, you guys. It's a gift to you and to other people. So don't push it down. And please, this is a big one, stop apologizing, girl. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to apologize for feeling things outwardly and in a big way. It's beautiful. So stop apologizing. My next piece of advice is give yourself space to connect with you. your thoughts and your emotions. It's normal to have a ton of thoughts swirling around in your head, and you can learn to let these thoughts come up. You see them, you feel them, and then you can choose to either go deeper into that thought and like let it branch off, or let it pass and just like poof, diffuse into space. I know it sounds crazy, but you can do that. You don't have to let it overtake you if you don't want to. You have that choice. Like, I know a lot of the thoughts that pop up can be so random, just from our subconscious, but you can take control of that aspect. When you have a lot going on, it can be really powerful to allow yourself to sit in silence imperfectly until it becomes more natural and peaceful to do that. And with the aspect of watching your thoughts, I want to make a note. Please, please, please do not beat yourself up for any thoughts that might flow in. Judging and beating yourself up for what you think or thoughts that pop up in your mind, like, it's never the right answer. That's never going to help you. You just need to focus on becoming aware of these thoughts and what you're thinking. And again, not judging yourself, but that's the first step in really taking control back of what you do think, of what thoughts do pop in your mind, and you can learn to make them more positive and more of what you want to have randomly pop up. I hope that's making sense. I do have an episode that was posted in the beginning of the show, and it's called You Are Not Your Mind. I'm pretty positive that's the title. It goes really deep into this aspect, so if you're curious about that, I would definitely check it out. It's one of my favorite episodes I've ever done, and I'm going to be interviewed soon on another podcast to talk about the topic, so stay tuned for those details. But yeah, give yourself space to connect with you and your thoughts. Super, super helpful. Another tip is create practical routines. This is really helpful. And I know routines, they don't come natural to most, even if it seems like it does. Like, even for me, I don't like being super rigid in my routines and schedules. I also don't like redundancy, but it doesn't have to be that. Let go of the thought that you have to have this perfect 10-step morning routine on a tight timeline that gets done every single day. You are not a robot. It will be very messy some days. It will be impossible to do on other days. And sometimes it will be almost perfect. With that being said, morning routines can be super helpful for soothing overwhelm and healing your anxiety. And the right routine really allows you to create and experience inner stillness despite what the external world might bring in that day. So I suggest picking a few things that create calm for you, like making your bed, drinking lemon water, kombucha in the morning, journaling, meditating, maybe walking outside. Something where you can be still and set your intentions for the day is very helpful. And having a few things that you do regularly will give you results like increased self-trust. Since you're, always doing these things, you can trust yourself to do what you say. Can lessen your anxiety, make you more productive throughout your day, increase your clarity, because again, you're taking time to be still, to set your intentions, and also can create more joy and openness in your days. All right, and then 4, be very conscious of what you consume. And I'm not just talking about food. The content that you take in through TV, books, podcasts, social media, all of that, it is really important fuel for your mind. So make sure you're taking stock of how you feel during and after reading certain types of books or watching reality TV shows, maybe versus documentaries, like what are the feelings there? Think about how you feel when you're listening to an info-packed self-help podcast like this one, versus one where maybe it's a bit more drama. The host is spilling all of what went on with them this week, and it's just kind of all over the place. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel when you see certain people on social media? Filter out anyone who makes you feel bad or insecure. Filter out any shows, any books, any podcasts that make you feel a little drained or, don't focus you in the way that you'd hoped. Pick and choose. Be choosy about what you do in your day, what you consume in your day. And the last thing I want to add here is I'm not saying to cut out all random TV or never ever have a cocktail. Another example I was going to give is think about how you feel when you're drinking. So when you're drinking alcohol, like do you feel good? That night, how do you feel the next day? How do you feel even the day after that? Like, those effects can last a while. I think that is like up to a week. And how is it to do what you were doing without alcohol? Like, compare how you feel in those moments too, because I've actually learned personally that I don't really feel good. Like, I have drank a few times on and off since like September of this last year, and every time I do, I'm always like, the next day, or even like later that night when I'm like so sleepy. It makes me so sleepy. But then the next day my stomach's all messed up and like I just don't feel great. And so I've been questioning every time, and again, it's just like occasionally, but it really helps me to see the parallel of like how it is regularly without alcohol and then how it is with it. I'm like, I don't really love this, like I don't really want to do this anymore. But anyway, like I was saying, like I'm not saying never do these things and always cut out all reality TV and stuff like that. Like, I'm saying tune into yourself and listen to what you truly need. What's going to give the most back to you and your life and what you want? What's going to make you feel the best? And that brings us full circle back to intention. Be intentional. Everything you do should have intention fueling it. What's the purpose of this? What am I doing here? Do I feel rested and recharged after watching that show, or do I feel drained and foggy? Do I feel clear and happy the morning after drinking those 4 glasses of wine? Or do I feel sluggish and have a headache? Even like the night you are drinking, can I enjoy my time more if I'm sober? Did it really increase my happiness and help me to be intentional being tipsy? Or when I'm around this friend, how do I feel? And when I leave, do I feel inspired and happy, or do I feel off and tired? Moral of the story is tune into your intuition and learn to start trusting your gut and take action and more control over your life. You have so much more than you give yourself credit for, so much more control. All of the answers that we seek truly are already within us. And stillness plus intention are really great ways for us to reach that place which contains the answers. I'm really glad that you tuned in today, and I hope that you take some intentional time after this to be still and figure out what you want more and less of in your life. I will see you next time, and please remember, you are so worth it. Bye.